Hey, future bestsellers, Lisa Daly here. I'm the best-selling traditionally published author of 8 books. And by the end of this video, I am going to tell you how to keep your novel from being boring, especially in the middle. Oh, yeah, you don't want your reader to do that when they are reading your book or when they start reading your book and it's just too freaking boring to finish. And we've all read that book. That's the worst. So what you want to do, what every author wants to do, is keep that reader turning pages, page after page, until it's 4 o'clock in the morning and they're gonna have to call in sick to work because they stayed up all night reading your book. And the way to do that is actually a lot simpler than you'd think. So in your novel, whether you're writing a mystery, a thriller, a fantasy novel, a romance, your main character pretty early on in the story is going to have a goal that they need to accomplish by the end of the story. This is frequently called the story goal. So to understand what the story goal is all about, let's quickly review the basics of the 3-act story structure. And if you want to get more into this, I did a video on it last week that really simplifies how the 3-act story structure works. So the simplest way to understand the 3-act story structure is this. Put your characters in a tree, set the tree on fire, get your characters out of the tree. Your character has some story goal that they need to accomplish. So your character's story goal is basically how they plan to get themselves out of the tree. How do they alleviate the crisis or get themselves out of trouble? So let's think about Die Hard, for example.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
John McClane gets stuck in Nakatomi Plaza when Hans Gruber, one of the greatest movie bad guys ever, and his band of thugs take over the building. His wife is downstairs being held hostage. His goal is to bring the cops in, get the bad guys caught, and get everybody safely out of the building. And I love to use Die Hard as an example because it's so visual. We all have seen that movie at least once, probably at Christmas. Don't get me started on that. And what happens is, on his way to achieving the big story goal, which is to get everybody safely out of the building and get the bad guys caught and locked up where they belong, is that he has a lot of small goals along the way. He's barefoot and he needs to find shoes. Then he needs to get more ammunition. The phone lines have been cut and he needs to find a way to call the cops. Then the police think he's a prank caller, so he needs to get the cops to take the threat seriously. He needs to get everybody off the roof before it blows up. And he needs to figure out what the bad guys are up to, and he's got to stay alive while doing it. Like any goal, we have small steps that our character needs to accomplish in order to reach the big goal. So just like in order for you to become a big, famous, best-selling author, first you have to write the book. Second, you have to watch all my videos so that you know how to write the book and find an agent and all that other stuff. Third, you have to sell the book. Fourth, you have to promote the book so that it can be found by readers who will eventually grow to love it, thereby propelling you to your dreams of fame, fortune, and literary stardom. The way to keep your reader glued to the page is that there are only 2 outcomes to the character trying to achieve these smaller goals. And that is, 1, they fail miserably. They don't find the map. They miss the plane. They can't clear up the misunderstanding. They don't get there in time. Or what they've already done in the past has not made a difference. So, massive failure. Massive failure. That is the first way that a scene goal can end. The second way that a scene goal can be resolved is if your character does succeed, they find the map. They do meet the girl at the airport. But ultimately, they find that, yes, they've accomplished this smaller goal, but now they know that the problem is way worse than they ever anticipated. So essentially, it's another failure. They either fail completely outright, so they're on their trek to California to find the treasure map, and they don't find it, so that's one type of failure. Or they find the treasure map, but then they find out, oh, the treasure happens to be buried at the bottom of the ocean, or it's in Chernobyl, or some other problem that makes the situation far worse than they could have imagined. And that, my friends, is the simple way to keep your readers glued to the pages. Failure, 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 and more failure. Your job as an author is to be a total asshole and a complete sadist. Make trouble for your characters, make a lot of it. That's right, your job is to make trouble for imaginary people. Make their lives hell. Get in their way every chance you can get. Make it hard on them, because the harder you make it and the more the reader feels like, oh, they're so close, but they can't get their goal, the more they're going to stick with you to find out what happens next. And that is exactly what you want. No more boring books. Readers reading all night long. And if you're looking for a book to keep you up all night, Single Minded is available in hardcover and ebook from St. Martin's Press, wherever books are sold. As always, if you have a writing question, be sure to hit me up down in the comments below. I am more than happy to answer your questions. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you liked this video. And of course, please hit subscribe, like, and ding that little bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a new writing video, which is on Mondays and Wednesdays. All right, everybody, get back to writing. You've got a happily ever after to get to. See you next time.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.